All right, guys, you back with me again today, your host, Anthony Mitchell, and we are going to bring the pain. Now, first, I do have to apologize because over the last couple of episodes, we have highlighted some phenomenal sponsors or people that have worked with us through the years and that have supported, our multiple endeavors in the community. And they have had phenomenal stories, but unfortunately, today you were stuck with me. But I will do my best to get us through this short podcast today. But before we even get into today's topic, I just wanted to, first of all, shout out all of our listeners/supporters that are coming by way of 97% in the United States. But we are going into other countries. And man, I am always, as we say in the South, I'm tickled to life. I'm tickled to life anytime you have people listening to you from places you've never been. So shout out to New Zealand, Indonesia, India, Australia, and the several other places that are listening in. But anyway, with that being said, guys, take the time to like and share this podcast with one of your friends so that we can reach more people. But guys, real quickly this morning, I just wanted to jump on. It's a super cold morning here in the South. It's like 20 degrees. It's iced. We've had ice storms. A lot of people are still without power. Why does it seem like every time I get on here is right after a storm? Right? But anyway, guys, here at the End Zone Club, we have conversations that kind of are wrapped around things that I know now that I wish that I knew when I was younger. We're a platform that, of course, is targeting youth, but for some odd reason, a lot of young adults, well up into their 40s, are enjoying the segment. So today I just wanted to talk about the different approaches, if I could say that, we take in business. And it's going to be clear in a moment, but I've learned over time that in business, you've got two types of people. You've got sharks and you've got sheep, or maybe you could interchange the shark with a lion, but you've got lion and you've got sheep. What a lion does is a lion leads with his mind. A sheep leads with his heart. In business, I found out that these two approaches, that even though they vastly differ, that sometimes they can be detrimental. It's probably good, young people, in business if you learn how not to separate feelings with intellect. And when I mean intellect, that's having a well thought out thought pattern for anything you want to do, sitting down, figuring out what you want to do, and leave the emotions out. Because something about business is sometimes it requires you to make some unpopular decisions. Sometimes it requires you to be analytical in ways that you shouldn't allow your heart to interfere with. Just for a story topic, I was, as a young man, I was really getting into construction as a carpenter. I had this idea that I wanted to be, basically like my own entrepreneur. I had worked for people from a young age. I mean, I was always that guy that was ambitious. You would see me cutting grass in the neighborhood, or you would see me landscaping or chopping wood, or sometimes I would even house sit people's dogs, just for the sake of having money. I didn't have parents that were blessed with a whole lot of money. So in order for me to get things that I wanted, albeit video games or clothes or, even Sports Illustrated magazines, I had to go out and get it. So I would take on an assortment of odd jobs from the time I was 12 years old just to have money. Well, with that mentality over time, it started, developing this entrepreneurial spirit inside of me, and I was not afraid to swing at something and strike out, if that makes sense. Some things that we go after we might be good at, and then there are some things we want that we may not have the ultimate success we want. But part of the journey, part of the joy, part of what makes it what it is the fact that you tried. So circle that. Whatever I did, I tried. Whether I failed or I succeed, I could say I got off the boat and tried it. That's important. There are a lot of people that are frozen and paralyzed by fear of failure. It keeps a lot of people back. So they'll stay in this boat of comfortability and never branch out. So was working at a grocery store. Grocery store was going through some things. Of course, we had several crashes from the fear of Y2K on through the market crash. And I started leaning more on my entrepreneurial spirit as a carpenter to kind of make up for what I was lacking financially. And I remember Hurricane Katrina hit. I was in college, I might have been fresh out of college. And it created like this need for my skill as a hands-on worker. And I was getting calls from a lot of other carpenters that needed help, as well as a lot of other opportunities that were falling in my lap. So I went after all of it. I'm like, man, I felt like Scrooge, Mr. Scrooge, it's like all this money, and I wanted to swim in it. So I went after some things and got a call from an older lady. She was, well in age. She was in her 70s or 80s, and she was living in a FEMA trailer. And she needed some work done to her house. Maybe a limb had fallen on her house. They got the roof fixed, but, a little water damage on the walls, wanted to do some painting, whatever. So older guy encouraged me, hey, I know you like helping people, and whatever the case is, you're still taking this approach that your word is your bond, this thing, but now you need to start learning how to write contracts. That way you can hold people's feet to the fire. Well, I felt bad for taking his advice with this older lady, but I trusted his wisdom that, he had been in business for himself 20 plus years. So apparently whatever he was telling me was either coming from a sense of his discernment or it was coming from experience. So I gave the lady a contract, which clearly outlined a scope of work, which is what we're going to be fixing, what rooms we're going to be fixing it with or in, and, basically what all we were going to be required to do. And then when all things were satisfied or completed, I need my money. So guys, we did the work, brought in a few guys, man. I mean, we went above and beyond. We were doing some painting. We were doing some trim work. And I mean, we went above and beyond in this lady's home because she specified she had a lot of this stuff. I mean, ever since, her husband was alive, who was no longer with us. And I understood how much sentimental value her possessions carried. So we covered everything up with tarps and plastic. And I mean, you would have thought we were working in a hazardous zone. But we got finished with the job and she was unwilling to pay because she said, oh, you guys damaged my hardwood floors, which I didn't think was possible because of the extremes we had went to keep everything covered. So, kind of me being this younger man, I let my heart get in the way. And instead of me asking her to provide proof, I just automatically fixed her floors. I mean, basically resanded them in some places, varnished, whatever, to bring that initial, like an original shine, Mr. Clean Head shine, back to her floors. Well, she begins to now argue that there was a closet that she wanted painted that wasn't painted. Well, I pull up the contract and I'm like, ma'am, that was not in the contract. And she's like, well, I'm telling you, I am not paying you until you fix my closet. So the older guy that had given me the wisdom on writing a contract was actually with me that day. And he was like, this is how you handle that. He was talking from his head. He was talking from a place of experience. But I'm a younger man and I'm thinking, oh man, he's got no heart. How could you do this to this old lady like this? I can't do that. So I painted the closet out of my own pocket. Money I had, I painted it just to get her happy. So she goes on and she goes on and she goes on about how unhappy she was with the work. And, she wanted to take some money off of our asking price that she had signed and agreed. And I'm like, at this point, now I just want to get paid. I want to get out of this job. I never want to look back. So finally she pays us and, we get all the tools out, get everything locked in the van. We're getting ready to go. And I realized I left something small, like a pencil or something, in this woman's house. And because of the problems I've had with her, I'm like, look, I have got to go get it. So I went back through a side door to get what I had left. And I hear this older woman on the phone with one of her family members. And she is bragging, baby, I got a brand new house for little or nothing. You see how God blessed? Y'all, I ran over that young man. She was bragging to one of her family members as an 80-plus-year-old woman how she had taken advantage of a 19-year-old kid. And I'm in the hallway. I'm dumbfounded. I'm standing there and I hear this conversation and she happens to look up and she was like, uh-oh, I gotta go. And I was like, ma'am, I was trying to do the right Christian thing by working with you on this, and now I come to find out this whole time that the older guy was right. So lesson in point, I walked away from that experience understanding the difference between a lion and a sheep. A lion leads with his mind. He doesn't allow emotions to get in the way. These are people that are not easily affected emotionally in places of business. And then you've got the sheep that allows their heart to do all their thinking, that allows them to be sympathetic, which now can allow their heartstrings to be manipulated by these types of people. So I told you guys we're only going to be on here real quickly, but for a topic, I just want you guys to think, whatever business you're going to start from a young age, whatever creative ideas you have, do not allow people to run over you. That's my point for you guys today. Take it to heart, run it, live it, learn it, love it. It'll carry you far in life. This has been another edition of the End Zone Club. Y'all stay blessed.